packed show. We got Mike Tomlin spoke about the Steelers quarterback situation. Jara and the Cowboys just wrapped up a pre-draft presser, and Shams has a fresh update on Damian Lillard's status.
You didn't even mention the fact that we have Jackson Dart on the show today,
right.
too. How he's feeling 2 days from the NFL draft. Plus, we'll visit the Dart side and his Star Wars fandom.
I see what you did there, because LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers, they could be the dark side of the NBA. They're under pressure tonight. The adjustments J.J. Redick and company are making to avoid going down 0-2 against the Wolves.
But we begin with the Steelers. The first time hearing from head coach Mike Tomlin since Aaron Rodgers appeared on the Pat McAfee show last week. Tomlin was asked essentially if he gave Rodgers a deadline to make a decision about joining the team. It's new on SportsCenter.
To be quite honest with you, I don't know that I meant that specifically for him or the circumstance. I'm just saying in general, you know, when you report to training camp, man, it's a line of demarcation for development of a group individually and collectively.
We go to camp with 4 quarterbacks. Right now we have 2 on the roster, and you know, all options are on the table. And how we acquire those last 2, I assure you we'll have 4 when we get to Latrobe.
So much to discuss. Our Steelers reporter Brooke Pryor is here. Mike Tannenbaum and McCourty, the T brothers, Jason McCourty, here to talk about everything Pittsburgh Steelers. And Brooke, I want to start with you for a moment. What can you tell us about where things stand with the team trying to sign Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Matt, let me tell you, the people that are sitting in that building behind me, they are not panicking about their quarterback situation or a lack of decision from Aaron Rodgers, because based on the conversations I've had with people sitting in that building, they tell me that there's nothing that surprised them about what Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show about his indecision about the future. In fact, when Rodgers said, those who need to know, count the Steelers among those folks that know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. They are letting him take his time and decide on his timeline. Of course, Aaron Rodgers was here. He visited the Steelers' South Side facility, and Mike Tomlin was asked if it's typical for a free agent visitor to come in, rent his own sedan, drive around the side of the building, and Mike Tomlin said, I don't know that I'm looking for typical.
It's true, and you're not going to get it with Aaron Rodgers, so everyone's on the same page there. And we bring this up because, again, Tomlin and the Steelers spoke today. The draft is just a couple of days away. They picked 21st. We'll get to all that in a minute. But I want to have you speak GM and speak Aaron Rodgers. What did you hear from him last week when he spoke on Pat McAfee?
Yeah, he's out in my mind, and here's why. We go back a couple of years ago when he went from the Packers to the Jets. He was there for the first day of the offseason program. He was clearly all in. When you're looking for a battlefield commander to withstand the rigors of a 17-game regular season, as Coach Tomlin would say himself, we want volunteers, not hostages. The offseason program's begun, and we didn't spend $30 million a year and give up a second-round pick, guys, to have Mason Rudolph be our quarterback. So I'm glad we got the information if we're Pittsburgh before Thursday night. And I've been in this situation before. You have to have the mindset, if we're the Steelers, we're going to get a quarterback Thursday night.
Right, so you talked about right now it is Mason Rudolph, and let's just assume Aaron Rodgers is out. If the Steelers just don't make any quarterback moves whatsoever, I mean, they have because they've got 2 in the roster, but let's just say they stay where they are.
Yeah.
What's their outlook for 2025 if they bring in a DK Metcalf and Rudolph's their guy?
I would define it as insanity, because it would be the Steelers doing the same thing that we've seen year after year after year and expecting different results. A playoff exit in the first time they get there. So you look at this Pittsburgh Steelers team, we heard Omar Khan say, hey, we're going to get 2 more quarterbacks on the roster. You have to hope that one of those quarterbacks is Aaron Rodgers and the other one is a draft pick coming out of this one, whether that's Jackson Dart, whether Shedeur Sanders falls, whether that's a Jalen Milroe, a guy that you can develop. That, to me, is the only way you look at this Steelers team, you have a positive outlook on 2025.
When we saw those quarterback dominoes fall in free agency, we're sitting, well, what are the Steelers going to do? And they did nothing.
Nothing.
And they're past the point of that now.
But that's why Thursday night's the backstop to all those things. You could backstop all those decisions by making sure you get one Thursday night.
Great segue, because one of the players that may be an option in Pittsburgh, Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. Tomlin spoke about Shedeur this morning.
The things that stood out were evident in this video. There's a toughness there that doesn't get talked about enough. There's a competitive spirit there that doesn't get talked about enough. I know he's very talented and has made a lot of plays for his university and his team. But the intangible qualities displayed on tape were impressive to me.
Okay, Brooke, I said it. Steelers' 21st pick. What more did they say about Sanders and their quarterback draft strategy?
Matt, let me borrow a phrase from our friend Aaron Rodgers, that the Steelers are open to anything and attached to nothing as far as drafting a quarterback goes in the next couple days, because as it is my understanding, this is a team that there are some quarterbacks that they really like that they could take in the first round, but they're not going to reach for a quarterback. They went through this in 2022 with Kenny Pickett, and things didn't work out. And they did learn from that experience that you can do all your homework on a guy and you can feel really comfortable with him, but sometimes it's not the right fit. And so in doing that, they have learned and grown from that experience. And I asked Mike Tomlin relative to the homework that they did in 2022 or any other year they were considering a quarterback, had they done that volume of work on this class? And he said, I don't know that I'm looking at it comparatively, but we feel like we have been thorough in our evaluation with these quarterbacks. And by the way, if they don't draft a guy in the first round, they have a guy in the building in Mason Rudolph, who they have drafted in the last couple years. I guess it's been 6-7 years now, but they feel really good about him. And the guys in the locker room rally around Mason Rudolph, and they will play for him.
And Brooke, thank you. And we talk about this all the time, Mike Tannenbaum, how NFL people will talk themselves to making a quarterback into a first round when in reality is probably a second, third, or fourth. But if the class is weak, they're going to say, oh, this guy's a first rounder because it's best of a weak class. Not saying that's the case for this class, just saying that happens all the time in the draft. But then Shedeur Sanders, he's been looked, poked, and prodded coming into this process. What's a good fit for him?
I think it is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you mentioned picked and poked and prodded. At the end of the college football season, we were looking at Shedeur Sanders as being the first overall pick, and there was a conversation between him and Cam Ward. Since then, a lot has changed. So the Steelers drafting at 21, if a Shedeur Sanders is there, he would be the ideal pick to me. We heard the way Tomlin spoke about him, but I think on top of that, he has the confidence to come in and possibly play right away if the Aaron Rodgers situation doesn't work. I think that's going to be a big part. A guy that has changed different teams that he's been on in his college career, he shows up ready to put the work in right away.
And Jason, the other thing is he is tough. He's been sacked 94 times in 2 years. He's only missed one game. So, Matt, I know he's not ideal from, the high ceiling, but he is a good, competent NFL quarterback who could come in and start right away. And I actually think he's better than Kenny Pickett and Russell Wilson. So despite all the noise and the bumps, they could improve their quarterback situation by drafting Shedeur 48 hours from now.
There's 3 quarterbacks mentioned in the first round. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and then Jackson Dart. He will join us coming up on SportsCenter to talk his prospects. Brooke Pryor and the fellas. We'll see you guys in a bit. Thank you. Christine and Matt back with you. Bills fell just short of reaching the Super Bowl last year, losing the AFC title game to the Chiefs. Buffalo begins looking ahead to next season. Off-season workouts underway this week. MVP Josh Allen already got a new $330 million contract extension this offseason. He spoke today about how last season ended. It's new on SportsCenter.
It'll still sit with me. A lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas in that game, and that's why we play, is to be in those types of situations. And again, we're still fighting, still going to try to find a way to push through that, and whether it's them or whoever we got to play moving forward. But just use it as fuel and have a good OTAs and a good camp, and try to go into the season starting strong. Feels like it hasn't been that long since we were back in this building, but at the same time, it feels like it's been a long time being away from the guys and getting into our offense, and just excited to be back.
And the Bills entered the draft with just $7 million in cap space, the second fewest in the NFL. Look at the acquisitions. Joey Bosa, a big one. Michael Hoyt, Larry Ogunjobi. But they'll be without them in the first 6 games of the season due to a PED's violation. Jordan Reed has the Bills drafting corner Trey Amos in the first round.
Chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Và hôm nay bọn mình sẽ có tiêu đề là giấy lau. Mọi người hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là khăn giấy. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nha.